Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. This morning we are going to create this wonderful card made with the Hydrangea Hill suite. The greeting says, "The world is better because of you." It could be switched out to say, "Thinking of you, happy birthday," or "Thank you." But I'll go through the elements of how I put this card together. Much of the kit in the catalog uses fussy cutting. Some of it is the stamp and the die, and some is fussy cutting. Like this piece here is fussy cut. These here are fussy cut. So I had to play with fussy cutting. Not my favorite thing to do. But then I had a think. This is part of the Hydrangea Hill DSP. And you can put the die over top of the flower and cut it out, so you end up with very, very detailed shapes. So that's what I did pretty much to put this card together. And the background is another piece of Hydrangea Hill DSP. It's the piece that's got the border on both sides. What I did is I cut it lengthwise into 4-inch strips. And what that did is it gave me 2 pieces of outside that I can use. I can cut them to 5 1/4 here and put a greeting up here and use them on a card. But what it did is it gave me that whole centerpiece, 4 inches, and then I just subcut that into 5 1/4, and I ended up, again, as I showed in my cut and store video, you end up with a piece 4 inches by 1.5 inches that you could actually use to create a border for a greeting on your card. So what I did is I did the leaves, and I went in with a Mossy Meadow outline stamp, and then used the fill-in stamp, the 2-step stamping system, in the old olive. And I cut 2 of these stems for each card. And you can see I just did the stems. The flower piece doesn't matter. We're going to end up cutting that off. I did 2 so that I could have 1 stem, and then I could have some leaves to add detail. So I'll go ahead and show you how I put the card together. I've got a Highland Heather card base, and I've got that piece of DSP that I talked about, and I have used the dies to fussy cut some of the hydrangea blooms out. And there are also other dies in the set that go with the little bunches of hydrangeas, and that's these 2 here. And that's how I cut these pieces out. When I fussy cut these out, I had some extra pieces around the edge and I didn't want to waste them. So I used the other dies to do the fussy cutting there. So I have other elements I can use later. And these are the stamps that go with those 2 other dies. So I'm just going to pop those off to the side for now. I used the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch to do the greeting, again in the Highland Heather, and then some white cardstock. So again, I used Old Olive, Highland Heather, and Mossy Meadow to do this. So let's get to work. You're going to need a decent number of dimensionals for this one. So I'm just going to use adhesive to put the background on the card base. So just line it up and drop it down. And as I said, I used the stamp and die to cut out the leaves. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back, and you can see this residue of dimensionals on here. I actually rescued this from one of my samples that just didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to place it down on the card like that. And then knowing that I have these pieces, these ones are actually extra, so I'm just going to take these off so that I don't make a mistake. I know how I'm going to lay these out, so I'm going to use dimensionals on the back of this hydrangea bloom. And if you look at it, you can kind of see which way up it looks like it should go. Now, hydrangea blooms are big and round, so which is the right side up and which is not the right side up is kind of your own choice. So I'm just going to pop this down like this, and I'm just going to use adhesive on the back of the other pieces here because they aren't raised up from the paper. So I'm just going to add these in just like that. And then this is the longer set, and it's okay if there's a little bit of leaf showing. It just kind of adds dimension. I'm just going to pop that in just like that, I think. Yep. And then this little one goes down the side here. And I did tuck that one underneath. So that one just goes down the side like that. Just gives a little bit of movement and a little bit of depth. So then you're going to take your extra piece that you cut out and you're just going to snip the leaves off. And just like that. And then you can take the leaves and you can add them in. And I used dimensionals on the leaves as well. So just pop that in. And this one kind of goes at the top here like this. And then I put this one. This one I actually put down here to create another kind of leaf accent here. And then the last small leaf I put at the top. And the last step will be to put the greeting on. So there, that's kind of the bouquet done. Now, as I said, I used the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch for this one, and I used the really kind of ornate side. I cut the Highland Heather to 1.5 inches, just shy of 1.5 inches, and 4 1/4 inches long. And then I put the one side in till I could see it here, made sure it lined up and punched it. And then when I put it on the card to see where I wanted to go, to make sure that I could make the cuts so it fit in correctly. And then the Whisper White is about, it is just shy of the kind of, let me see, how did I do? It's 3/4, it's just shy of 3/4 of an inch is the inside piece. And you just, sometimes you need to play with it. I'm sure there's an exact science formula out there somewhere. I just play with it till I get it the way I want it. Put some dimensionals on the back, and then I just tucked it in and centered it. I've tucked it underneath the one leaf and over top of the stem, and I'm just centering it. And that is your card. It does take a little bit of time to get all of the fussy cutting done with the dies. But the fussy cutting with the dies looks so much, in my opinion, the way I fussy cut, it looks so much better than when I fussy cut with scissors, because it's so consistent in the shaping and actually really picks up kind of on the natural shape of the flowers. So anyway, that is the World is a Better Place Because of You from the Hydrangea Hill suite in the January to June catalog. So thank you very much for watching, and if there is anything you'd like to purchase, please use links below. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.